And we are now live on YouTube. Aloha and welcome, international intergalactic friends. Thank you so much for joining in. My name is Wolf Shield. You're tuned in for some more live tarot readings with Wolf, as we are just getting ready to kick things off and get started and get into our first reading as soon as possible. I'm going to share this broadcast in one other group, the 1111 Movement group on Facebook, to be able to invite some more people to be able to join in. If you're tuned into this on any platform, go ahead and leave an 1111 in the comments to let me know that you are there. And if it's your first time here, go ahead and leave a 222 in the comments as well. All right, starting the broadcast on the 1111 Movement group. Stand by. Here we go. And blast off. And aloha, welcome everyone who's tuning into this on the 1111 Movement group on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining in. Thank you everyone for joining in on any platform that you may be on. My name is Brendan, aka Wolf Shield, Mystic Spider-Man, Skull Babylon, the man with many names, many hats, and we are getting ready to do some more live tarot readings with Wolf. So thank you again so much everyone for joining. Again, if this is your first time here, stick around. I'm going to give you some instructions in terms of what to be able to expect, how to be able to be involved. And yeah, this is an awesome opportunity for us as a community to be able to cultivate some inspiration, to be able to come together as a team of people who are passionate about helping change the world, about people who are here to shift the paradigm. So for those of you on Instagram, go ahead and click the link in my bio to tune in on YouTube. For those of you who are on Facebook, drop a 222 in the comments if it's your first time here, and I'll give you some special shout outs. And with that said, I'm going to give you some instructions as we get ready to be able to do our first reading. And here we go. So the way how we do these readings, I'll just kind of paint the intention. I am not doing these readings as a fortune telling. I am not doing them as a psychic reading. Other people do that. That's cool. The way how I do it is to be able to practice using the cards as an opportunity for us to be able to put out the intention of show us what we need to see. And then through the cards, we receive a message from the universe, and we work with the cards as a conduit to be able to deliver that message, to be able to help assist us and provide us by giving more clarity, insight, and inspiration, while constantly aiming this back towards the intention of us coming together as a global team of light workers, light guardians, shifters, people who are actively helping assist with the shift in consciousness. So there's the overview of how it works. The way how we're going to do this, we're going to do our first reading for somebody out of the chat, and I'm going to give you the instructions for that. And then from there, part of the intention with this broadcast is to be able to provide awesome value for the community, and also to be able to invite people to join up on my Patreon, where they can be a part of the very, very intentional community that we are building through the Paradigm Shift Central project, which is a team of conscious creators and leaders, and for people to be able to help support the work that I do on Patreon through monthly micro contributions, and to be able to work with me through individual coaching as a conscious media creation coach, as a soul coach, all that other cool stuff. And I'll mention a little bit more about that as we go. So the first reading that we do is going to be for someone right out of the chat, and I'll give you the instructions for that. The additional readings that we do are going to be for people as they sign up for the Patreon. And the way how we do this is that it's a collective reading. So as people sign up on the Patreon, it's also a reading for anybody tuned in. And it's a really, really cool thing that we do. We've been doing this for quite a while. And the people who have been here before, thank you so much for your support and for coming back and for just being here and holding space for the people who may be here for the first time. So with that said, if you're already here and you're wanting to just be able to check out my Patreon, go ahead and scope that out. The Patreon is an awesome place to be able to help support the work that I do as a conscious media creator and director for Paradigm Shift Central. This is a project I've been doing for over 10 years. So I'm one of the people in the community who's an entrepreneur, and I create inspirational conscious media. We do team broadcasts, and I provide inspirational one-on-one coaching as a conscious media creation coach. And to let some of you know, since this might be your first time here, I'm also offering higher end one-on-one coaching for those who are interested, which is more like kind of like having me in your corner and like helping you get like really focused and dialed in on your purpose and your intentions, and just like bring more of that motivation and inspiration into your life. So there's a lot of really high value there. So again, check out the Patreon as we go through this. We're going to get right into our first reading, and then the additional readings will be for people as they sign up for the Patreon. This broadcast will be for about 2 hours because I have to go walk my dog after. and then we'll be back later tonight. Our objective, you can see, our Patreon goal is to reach 200 Patreon supporters as soon as possible, and we're currently at about 162. And again, you can sign up on the Patreon at a very affordable level of starting at either $5, $11 is a level where you can join as a leading member, and you can get a Lemurian Light Guardian Crystal, which I'll show you a bit later. And the higher levels are like more for like additional coaching and other cool stuff. So it's all equally appreciated. Thank you so much. And again, let's get right into our first reading, and we'll talk more about the Patreon as we go. Our objective for this is to get at least 2 Patreon signups during this broadcast. So for anybody who's here, maybe for those of you who are already familiar with my work, this is a great time to be able to sign up for the Patreon if you've been thinking about it. In terms of the first reading, this is how we're going to do it. I'm going to give you a number, and the 8th person who enters this number into the chat will be the first person that we do the reading for. And again, we do this as like a collective reading, so it's really, really cool when we do it. So if you haven't already yet, here are your instructions. Share this broadcast with your friends. If you're in the 1111 movement group, sometimes you have to click on my profile in order to be able to share it from my page. Just be aware of that. So share this broadcast with your friends if you haven't already yet. Those are the instructions. Instruction 2, I am going to give you a number, and the number, you are going to enter it into the chat and only enter it in once. The 8th person who enters the number into the chat will be the first person that we do our first reading for. And then from there, we'll get into the second reading as we have people signing up for the Patreon, which again is like an awesome way to support the amazing work that we're doing here as conscious creators in the community. So for those of you who are here for the first time, let this just be like an awesome introduction, an awesome sample. Check out my Patreon for more of the work I do. And again, when you sign up onto the Patreon, yeah, you can get one of these bad boy Lemurian Light Guardian Crystals, and they're super, super awesome and super valuable, and I'll show you more about those later. So for the first reading, for everybody here, I'm going to give you the number. Do not enter this number into the chat more than once, and do not enter it in right away. Listen to just your intuition and connect with your breath first. So for everybody here, let's just take a quick moment to just kind of like take a breath. So for everybody here, just invite you to just like put your hands on your heart if you want. Just take a moment here, just kind of chill out. Just take a couple breaths here. Maybe today, maybe this is like the first time that you've actually taken a mindful breath. So just really give yourself that gift. Nice big exhale, release. Beautiful. Keep breathing in a rhythm that works for you. The number I am going to give you, the 8th person enters this into the chat across the multiple Facebook groups and the Instagram family. Click the link in my bio, tune in on YouTube if you haven't already yet. The number I'm going to give you, don't enter this in right away, listen carefully, is the number 333. So if you're in the chat and you'd like to be eligible for this first reading, enter that number into the chat. Take a moment to breathe. Don't enter it in right away. And as those numbers come in, I am going to be keeping an eye on the chat, and we'll determine who our first reading is, and then we'll get right into it. And then let's get as many readings as we can in. So again, the 8th person who enters this number into the chat will be the first person that we do our first reading for today. And thank you again, Patreon supporters. You're making this possible for the entire community. So thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. All right, here they come. Let me focus. All right, so the first person that we're going to do our first reading for is going to be for Lavinia. So Lavinia Cotezi, who is in the 1111 movement group. Thank you so much for joining in, and for everybody else here, just for dropping those 333s. Like seriously, straight up, you guys are awesome. So we're going to get right into this first reading. And again, as we do this, the additional readings will be available for people as they sign up to the Patreon. But again, when you're supporting on the Patreon, you're not just getting the next reading. There's so much value. So again, for those of you who are interested, like if this is your first time, no pressure. Let this be an introduction, but feel the vibes of what we are creating. Again, like I'm a full-time conscious media creator. The work that I do is created and made possible by the community. So thank you, community supporters, for helping us reach our goals on Patreon. So let's get right into this. So Lavinia, go ahead and let us know in the comment if you are ready. And then for everybody here, again, I want you to just practice holding space and let this be an experience where you can just kind of like allow this to be a collective reading. And then for people, as they sign up for the Patreon, you can choose which deck you want. Right now, we're going to do the Ananda Tarot deck. As people sign up for the Patreon, you can get the Lightworker Oracle deck. And you can also get private readings as well as an additional option. So let's get right into this. And again, for those of you, yeah, so it's for those of you, like, there's multiple chats, so like that's why, like, in the chat here, I think it was the 7th person in the 1111 movement group. That's because there was another person in another chat that entered it in there, so it's a sequence across. So thank you for just like double checking. But yes, that is why it's not always like the 8th person in that one chat. It's because there's multiple chats that I'm looking at there, and that's just to be fair with everyone. But yes, thank you, Colleen, for, yes, that is, you are correct. So it is the 8th person. So Lavinia, thank you so much for being here. Thank you everyone for just hanging out. If you haven't already yet, you can check my social media links up in the corner at youtube.com/SkullBabylon, Mystic Spider-Man on Instagram. Lavinia, you are ready. So let's get right into this. So for everybody here, I just invite you. And again, for everybody here, thank you for holding space for me too, because I want to remind you that, like, this is just practice for me too. So thank you for having fun and just hanging out together. All right, for all the light workers, for all the light guardians, for all the shifters here, thank you. And by you being a part of this broadcast, you were invited to connect with the global team that we are building. You are the global team that we are building. Lavinia, I'm gonna guide you through just like a little bit of instructions, and then I'm gonna tell you to type now into the chat. And then when you type now into the chat, that's when we'll pull your card. But for everybody here, just kind of drop into this space together. So Lavinia, thank you again for everybody here. Go ahead and close your eyes. And just take a moment here. We're just going to drop into that heart space of gratitude. So for Lavinia, the first person that we're doing our reading for everybody here, I want you to just practice closing your eyes together. Just take a moment here to just connect with your breath. Just connect with this gratitude. Connect with this feeling of community. This feeling of like-minded, of like-hearted people coming together, here to be able to help change the world. Just feeling the joy and the love of this space, the intention of it. Lavinia, as you are in this space within your heart, as you continue to breathe, I want you to focus on the intention of show me what I need to see, or show us what we need to see, us being the community. Take a few more breaths here, Lavinia. I want you to speak this intention with your heart, speak it with your mind, speak it with your words. As you breathe here for a few more moments, when you are ready, type now into the chat, and we will pull that first card for you. And I'm just going to charge up the deck a little bit real quick as we do this. So for everybody here, hold that intention together. And so here we are once again, my friends, taking part within this story that never truly ends, in order for us to be able to receive the messages that will help us ascend, that will help us come into this place where we can see around the bend and around every corner with the faith of our heart, to know that it is within the heart that we must truly start. We wish to change this world with the power of our words, and we will continue to inspire all the boys and all the girls who will remember the divinity that they have within, who will know that they are the ones in which it shall begin. Because it starts with you, and it starts with me, and it begins by us being mirrors of infinity. So as we hold the space here for the collective to unite, and when Lavinia is ready, they will type now into the chat, and we shall pull a card and see which message the universe has. And there it is now. And the deck is split, and the card is pulled, and he's flipping the deck as I do like play by play, as if this is like a sport. And here comes the tarot deck, and it's a pull, and the first card that we have for today's reading is Spheres 2. So give me 2 seconds here. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open up the book here. We're gonna read from the book. Yes, I read from the book. That's okay, because the book does a great job of being able to explain it. And then what I do is we go into some depth, and I talk about it, and we share in the conversation together. So, Ace of Spheres. So again, as we're doing this, for those of you who, again, if it's your first time here, no pressure. But at the very least, I invite you to be able to check out my Patreon, because that's where you can see all the work that I do. I do like free hugs videos, inspirational poetry, guided meditations, lots of really cool value, private coaching, conscious media coaching, lots of cool stuff. The next person that we do our reading for the person and the community, will be as people sign up for the Patreon. And so let's just hang tight for this reading. And then again, as the next person signs up, we'll get right into the next reading. So let's get that person signed up as soon as we can, so that way there's no intermission between this reading and the next reading. And let's just focus on this reading right now. So Lavinia, thank you so much. And for anybody here, please feel free to connect to my profile. You're more than welcome. Again, this is not just about tarot readings. This is about building a team. This is about building a community. I've been doing this for like over 10 years. And every day there's more people connecting. And you're one of them. So let's take a look at this card. For those of you on Instagram, click the link in my bio to tune in on YouTube. All right. So again, if you are here, this message is for you. So looking at this card, just visually explaining it, what do we have here? We have this beautiful image of this beautiful like reflective sphere with the moon above it, and kind of like this like gate or portal of light kind of like shining up and down between the two spheres. And the sphere is kind of like on this kind of like almost, it's kind of like a checkerboard pattern with these trees behind it, and you can see the reflection of the environment within the sphere and the moon being reflected within the sphere, kind of turned upside down, which is an interesting thing that spheres do. Reflections still trip me out sometimes. And the sky is just, again, kind of got like a little bit of light to it, but then ascending up into the night sky with a few stars as well. And yeah, just some really beautiful like blues and greens there within that card. So Lavinia, as you are here, just let us know if you're still here. And for everybody here, if this resonates with you at any moment, please feel free to drop 1111s in the chat. We're going to read through it together, and then we're going to go deeper. So again, this is Spheres 2. And if you are here, this message is for you. All right. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you, Patreon supporters. Let's go. Yes, 2 is an 11. 11, 11. Oh my God, it's an omen. All right, let's have some fun. Thanks again, everyone. We're going to drop into this. Watch this. It's going to shift right here. 2 of Spheres. The image. The shadowy appearance of the faraway moon condenses into the concrete form of a crystal ball like a heavenly mirror in which the whole is reflected. Meaning, the field of tension of polar opposites reveals itself in its purest form through the earth element in the 2 of Spheres. The world of duality manifests itself in matter and demands constant attention from humans to maintain inner and outer balance. Movement and flexibility, as well as the ability to differentiate and set boundaries, are just some of the conditions for a harmonious life in a world of apparently endless contradictions. I'm going to reread that. Movement and flexibility, as well as the ability to differentiate and set boundaries, are just some of the conditions for a harmonious life in a world of apparently endless contradictions. The willingness to be open to constantly changing conditions and new experiences requires a certain uninhibitedness, as well as inner stability and knowledge of the laws of nature. Viewing existence as a game without losing respect and awe for life is an art in itself. I'm gonna reread. Wow, that's really powerful. I like this part. Drop 1111s if this resonates. Viewing existence as a game without losing respect and awe for life is an art in itself. Carefree living without being careless and differentiating without judgment creates a challenge to accept life in its variety of possibilities as it is. Just gonna reread that last part. Carefree living without being careless and differentiating without judgment creates a challenge to accept life in its variety of possibilities as it is. Astrological significance: Venus, Jupiter, opposition aspects. Keywords: world of duality, oppositions, differentiation and setting boundaries, uninhibitedness, agility, multitude of possibilities, ability to learn. Traditional meaning: new beginnings, creating balance, lightheartedness, new order, getting by with little. Okay, so again, when we do these readings, it's really, really cool, because when we do these readings, for those of you who have been here before, for those of you who are here for the first time, we set that intention of show us what we need to see. And so, yes, this is Lavinia who is helping us draw this card, but this is for us. This is for the community. That's really the value and why we're doing this. And so this is a very powerful card to be able to receive as a message. And yeah, there's going to be messages within this card that might sound like, oh, well, that's obvious. But at the same time, maybe it's just something that simply by putting it within the forefront of our consciousness are going to be able to help us shift our paradigm in terms of something that may either be happening or something that is still coming into our reality. So diving into this card obviously, what are we looking at here? The Two of Spheres. Like, this is a card that is really hitting home the observation of duality within this reality. But more so than that, this card is really encouraging us to step into our courage, to be able to like set out on adventure from a place of strength, knowing that there will be moments within our life that we simply cannot predict, but what we can control is our ability to choose how we respond to them, to choose how we hold ourselves. So this card is about being able to understand the world of the outer world and the world of the inner world. And the outer world is something that, yes, you can influence it, but it in itself is like an ocean, and you cannot change the ocean, so to speak, but you can learn to ride the waves. And so with this card, it's really encouraging us that like, as we get out there and as we start sharing our gifts and as we start putting ourselves in circumstances that might be outside of our comfort zone, it's a great opportunity for us to be able to practice, again, being able to practice flexibility, movement, as well as setting boundaries. So this is a great card, again, for Lavinia, for anybody else who is listening to this, to really check in with ourselves. How are we handling our own boundaries? And is there an opportunity for us to be able to refine them? Maybe our boundaries are like a little bit too loose. Maybe our boundaries are a little bit too hard. It's kind of like being able to find the balance between having a heart chakra that's too open versus having a heart chakra that's too closed. Again, it's kind of like the duality of kind of like understanding that everything works on a spectrum. And as much as like one thing can go this way and one thing can go that way, it's kind of constantly about this process of like moving back and forth and finding that middle ground, finding that middle path. And so what I think is incredibly valuable with this card is understanding that when we know how to set healthy boundaries between our inner world and the outer world, it allows us to be able to see things from a more clear perspective in which we're able to be present with the lessons as they're unfolding, instead of just being a victim of the circumstances that we cannot control, that we cannot think we can control. So again, with this card, it really calls us into our autonomy, into our sovereignty, into our purpose and our responsibility to make sure that we are controlling the energies that we let in, by understanding that like this is something really, really powerful. And again, I say this because, you know, we use these cards because like it's not just the card that we're reading, it's the message that in myself I'm like feeling coming through me. And sometimes there's kind of messages where it's just like, whether it's directly related to the card or not totally related to the card, I'll do my best to convey it within context. But, you know, this is a very, very important opportunity to just be able to remind us that we are 100% responsible for the energies that we allow into our life. And so right now, this is an opportunity for you to be able to like look at the energies within your circle, look at the energies of people who are communicating with you, or perhaps even again, perhaps like not really serving your highest good. And let that be an opportunity for you to be able to say like, okay, I see the differentiation between myself and that person. And it's through setting the boundaries that I'm able to distinguish that like my energy is mine, their energy is theirs, the one and the two. And by understanding that literally there will be times within our life where people will push our boundaries, because the universe is actually there calling us into the place where we enact our boundaries, where we set our boundaries. And so by being able to like really own our value and our self-worth is going to allow us to become more discerning and more capable of deciding which energies we want to let in. And even for myself, like for a person who facilitates conscious community and sacred digital space, this is something that I practice, and it's something that I've had to develop. It's not something that you just learn overnight. And again, it's through usually the duality of understanding what we don't want that we understand what we do want. And when we can vocalize that, even within our own heart, it sends out a message to the universe that is basically us enacting our value, where it's like us saying like, yo, my focus is so dialed in that I don't have time for other people's bullshit. Like I literally have zero space in my life for other people's bullshit. And this is the way how I operate. And not to say that like bullshit doesn't arrive, but when it does arrive, I'm able to, again, being able to differentiate what's good for me, what's serving me, what I can get from the lesson, but then being able to set a very clear boundary. For example, if someone were to come into the sacred digital space of us doing this broadcast right now and started dropping comments that were inappropriate and started talking about how I'm a charlatan and a snake oil salesman, or just be like, right? It happens sometimes. It does. I would literally just be like, hey, like, thanks for stopping by, but we have zero room for that. And that's not because like I don't want to talk to you, but that's because I have so much clarity on my intention for my own energetic space, the differentiation between like what is one and what is two, that it's just like, okay, if I see that, boom, it's out. It's gone. You remove it. And so we have to be able to make sure that we're holding that same degree of authority within our own personal experience, so that if there are people who are coming into our life who are, again, maybe just kind of like, I'm not trying to say like only love and light, but you have to be able to make that discernment for yourself in which energy is serving you. And honestly, sometimes the energy that is serving you is the energy that will challenge you. So this card is not, I'm not saying to avoid challenges. I'm just telling you to be able to embrace the challenges, but with a strong sense of authority within your own being, with a strong sense of like your circle and other people's circles, and deciding on where they overlap and whether or not you even let them overlap. And so again, this card really hitting upon like the world of duality, oppositions, differentiation and setting boundaries, agility. This card is basically what I want to hit upon this card, and we'll just go a little bit deeper and then we'll get ready for our next reading, is that with this card, when we get really good at setting our boundaries, we're also getting really good at opening up the possibilities for us to be able to move in new directions. Because suddenly it's not this idea, and again, drop 1111s in the chat if this resonates for you. It's not this idea where suddenly like, oh, like, you know, like I'm scared to go in that direction because I don't want to get hurt. Instead, it's like I embrace challenges as they arrive, and I process them in a healthy way to be able to grow from them as much as possible. And the challenges aren't the issue. The stress isn't the issue. It's how you relate to the stress. So again, there will be times where people will stress you. But how do you relate to that? How do you use that as an opportunity to be able to think like, oh man, like that person said something about me that's not true. I'm going to go out of my way and try and convince them otherwise. Or are you just like, I know who I am. And for what it's worth, I don't even need to convince anything about myself to that person, if that's the type of relationship that it is. And instead of like choosing to get all reactive and be like, hey, I have to go out of my way and stand up for myself and teach this person a lesson or something like that, maybe the lesson in that moment is to separate yourself from that situation and to just be able to say like, is this worth my time? Is this legitimately worth my time? Is me going out of my way to like try and like prove my worthiness to someone who doesn't really like even like, you know, like who's like, it depends on the situation, but is that just going to cause me more anxiety? Is it going to shift my focus off what I need to focus on? So with this card again is about the ability to learn, the ability to be able to see the difference between yourself and your surrounding, but then to see the lesson in between you, and to be able to dial in on your focus and to get so fucking clear on your focus that you'll know that when something comes along that like threatens to take you off your focus, that you're just like, sorry, but no. I'm sorry, old friend from the past who suddenly arose with drama, but no, because I am so fucking dialed in on my focus right now, and that is an act of love for myself. That is not because I am not being empathetic. And again, you can still find a way to be empathetic. And sometimes it can be like, hey, I appreciate you reaching out right now. And, you know, like maybe we can catch up in a week or something like that, because I'm really focused. I'm not telling you to be an asshole, but I'm telling you to be incredibly considerate to yourself and to your focus and to your dreams. And as you do that, you'll be able to create more space to be able to decide where you want to be able to, you know, again, let certain energies in as they rise. So again, There's another part within this card, and I'll just mention this real quick, and then we're going to get right into, again, we'll wait for a new Patreon sign up. So again, even just as you're reading this, if you want to be like, hey, I want to be the next person to get a Patreon, I want to be the next person to get a reading for, again, sign up for the Patreon. It only takes about 3 minutes. You can sign up at the $11 level. You can sign up at the higher levels for the personal one-on-one coaching with me for like soul coaching. But again, just wrapping up on this card, one thing I really like about this card, and Lavinia, thank you so much for your comment. Lavinia saying perfect, thank you, and then with the happy face. That's me doing the emoticon with the happy face. I don't know, but anyways, this is really important. Viewing existence as a game without losing respect and awe for life is an art in itself. Carefree living without being careless. Carefree living without being careless. Carefree living is the ability to navigate this reality from a place of knowing that like you're so familiar with what your boundaries are and what you allow in that you're not walking around as scared of somebody else like jumping out at you and suddenly like bringing their energy into your field, because the fact that that's happened in the past has allowed you to develop more discernment and being able to help set those boundaries. And so you can start to kind of move through this life in a way where it's like, I'm not scared of being stressed anymore because I know how to be able to navigate it. And I'm not avoiding stress, but I know how to learn from it. And when it does arise, I know how to be able to process it. I know how to be able to center myself. I know how to differentiate myself from the situation. And I know how to keep moving forward and keep my focus. So again, I like that part. Viewing existence as a game without losing respect and awe for life. So yeah, understand that the game in this is that you will be challenged, is that people will push your buttons. How you respond is how you play the game. How you play the game will determine whether or not you stay in that same level or you upgrade and you keep moving up. So again, if you want to get sucked into the abyss of other people trying to pull apart your focus, go ahead, try it, see how it feels. But if you're tired of that, give yourself the permission to be able to say, hey, these are my boundaries, and it's not because I'm being an asshole and I'm not being like a stone-hearted person, but I'm just so fucking in love with my passion and my focus that I am not going to let anything derail that, you know? So, yeah, awesome. Carefree living without being careless and differentiating without judgment creates a challenge to accept life in its variety of possibilities as it is. So as reality comes into your path, give yourself that understanding that it is all there to serve you, even when it's quote unquote negative. That negative is helping you create your boundaries. It's helping you create differentiation between what you want and what you don't want. It's helping make you stronger. Express gratitude. The next time someone comes up to you and does something that like kind of pushes your button or might have done evoked something in you from the past, just be able to be like, oh sweet, like thank you for helping me. Like literally, thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping me, person in traffic who honked at me for no reason, for allowing me to be able to practice sending you love even though you're an asshole, because any love that I refuse to send to another person is love I am keeping from myself. Think about that. So, traditional meaning, new beginnings, creating balance, lightheartedness, new order, getting by with little, agility, multitude of possibilities. When you get good at setting your boundaries and understanding that life is here to serve you and teach you all these lessons and get really good at discernment and stuff like that, you can move through this life with so much fucking confidence that you'll just be able to fucking rock it. And stress won't be the problem. Stress will be a part of the equation that will help you grow, and you'll have the skills and the ability to understand how to relate to the stress. So again, even if me just talking with this here, if you're just like, yo, like, okay, maybe this is my first time meeting him, like, and you want to work with me, like more one-on-one, like imagine having me in your corner and us doing like monthly calls or having me at voice chatting so that we can talk back and forth and you can check in with me and be like, hey, like Brendan, this is what I'm doing today and I'm kicking ass, or hey Brendan, maybe I'm having a little bit of trouble today. Can we chat a little bit later? And hey Brendan, you know, like here's what my goals and my intentions are and here's what my accountability is. If that's something that even just from me briefly introducing myself that you would find value in, be sure to send me a message. You can check out my Patreon. And again, like the one-on-one coaching that I'm providing is here to help people with that. I'm only able to help you in things that I've gone through myself, right? So again, like, we're all here to grow together, and I'm here to be able to do my best to be able to serve you. So again, the new higher end coaching is one of the things that I've just recently introduced. And when you support me on Patreon with that higher end coaching or any of the levels, it also helps me provide more of my high value service for the rest of the community at incredibly affordable rates. So you're like helping the entire team. So again, wrapping up here, Lavinia, let us know in the comments how this card resonated with you. You can leave a little bit of a comment and I'll read it on air. For anybody else, leave your comments in the chat and I will read it on air for you as well. And again, Two of Spheres, this is a great card to be able to start off with, and card that really resonates with me. This is a card that I needed to hear, and if it's a card that you needed to hear, let us know in the comments down below. And yes, there you go. So send me a direct message if you, again, just are interested in one-on-one coaching that I do. If you want to be able to answer any questions, and also if you would like an image of the card, and I can send you a screenshot from the book. So if you're here in the broadcast, maybe this is your first time, I'll be doing more readings throughout the week. Again, working on reaching our Patreon goals. The 200 on Patreon that you can see in the corner, that's super, that's my job right now, to like reach that goal. And that's going to help me like just like open up so much possibility, like super being transparent. I'm actually at a really, really powerful point in my life right now where I'm like getting ready to apply for apartments. And so like by being able to increase my Patreon, it just gives me more possibilities, and it's going to be like a studio apartment where I'm going to be working on awesome stuff and serving you and serving the community. So again, sign up to the Patreon to support me, but also to support you and to support the entire community. So again, let me know if this resonated with you. Thank you, Lavinia. Thank you, entire community, just for being here. And again, just for being able to receive some of the guidance that came through. So thanks, universe. Good job, team. And yeah, thank you again, everyone. So with that said, we're going to get right into our next reading as soon as we have our first person signed up for the Patreon. So again, for those of you who are here and are interested in, again, being the person that we do our next reading for on air, or even a private reading, go ahead and sign up to my Patreon. It only takes about 3 minutes to be able to sign up. And when you sign up there, you can, again, get lots of other perks within the community, including the super beautiful Light Guardian Crystals. I'll just show you those real quick. So these are handmade items that I make. You can see they're like a light up, like beautiful, like ancient futuristic crystal pendant that you can use for like meditation and a talisman. And lots of other people got these and they love them. When you sign up at the Patreon at the $11 level, you can get one of these. And I'll just show you. Again, I'm just showing you as we get ready. So we're waiting on our next Patreon sign up as we are hanging out here. And then we'll do the next reading as soon as we have that Patreon sign up ready. And again, when you sign up onto the Patreon, you can also get the Lightworker Oracle deck. You can choose to get that reading on air, which is like a really cool deck. So let's get our goal of 2 Patreon signups within this broadcast before I have to go walk my dog, and then I'll be back later today. And thank you to our Patreon supporters who are already here. There's a lot of other people, a lot of people in the chat. Shout out to Lily. Shout out to Erica. Shout out to Morphic. Shout out to Ryder. These are like some of our Patreon supporters. Shout out to Paul, Sifu Boggy. Shout out to I think Samantha, Lindsay. Thank you to anybody else who I'm accidentally missing. So all right, so again, we're gonna get right into our next reading as soon as we have the Patreon sign up. You can see the info on screen for that. For those of you on the Instagram chat, click the link in my bio to be able to tune in on YouTube. And I'm gonna read some of the comments on air. Lavinia said 100% spot on. Thank you, Lavinia. And again, Lavinia, please feel free to send me a direct message. Again, whether you have questions, if you want to work on me with one-on-one coaching. And again, coaching is such a valuable thing. Like, imagine just the value of like having someone in your corner that you can reach out to like anytime during the month to be able to just like help keep you in that space of just like dialed in focus accountability. It's an investment for yourself. And whether you're an entrepreneur or whether you're just kind of navigating life, like having a coach is incredibly valuable. And I really enjoy being able to work with people on that level. I saw some other comments here as well. Vladimir said, thank you, man. I really needed this. Perfect timing. Beautiful, Vladimir. I'm glad to hear that. And yeah, Lavinia is saying thank you again, and a lot of 1111s. Thank you, Chandra. Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you to thank you to everyone just leaving your comments. Again, not all of them are exactly like relative to the reading per se, but thank you for just being here and for holding space for each other as a community. So awesome. Thank you, Miku. Thank you, Colleen. Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you, Kathy, Vladimir. Thank you, Chandra, Lavinia, Marilyn, and Lily, one of our Patreon supporters, and Jennifer, and Helga. All right, team. So let's get right into doing our next reading as soon as possible. Again, you can sign up for the Patreon. It only takes about 3 minutes to be able to sign up. And when you sign up there, again, you can choose the $11 level to get a beautiful Lemurian Light Guardian Crystal. You can also get access to me for private conscious media coaching. At the $11 level, we still do coaching for conscious media creation. So that's like another thing that I do, because again, like I've been creating conscious media for over 10 years, so I have a lot of expertise, a lot of experience in that. Providing that for the community is something I'm really passionate about. And again, you can have access to that even just at the $11 level. So if you want to sign up at the $11 level, please feel free to do that. If you want to sign up at the higher level, absolutely do that as well. And you can check out the tier levels on the Patreon as well. So it goes from like 11 and then it goes up and up and up, and there's like the value of it. There is the tier where you can sign up at like the $996 level, which again is like super affordable, like not super depending on who you are, affordable, super valuable in just being able to like have me again as a conscious media creation coach and being involved in the community on that level. But again, even if you're not ready to sign up for the Patreon, please feel free to just connect with my profile and be sure to even just like join our team chat. You can find the link for that through the Patreon. Connect with me through Instagram. Subscribe to my YouTube at Skull Babylon. And yeah, and tune in this Wednesday. So for leading members, when you sign up on the $11 level, and again, I'm just chatting right now until we have that new Patreon sign up ready to go. As soon as we have that new Patreon sign up ready to go, we'll get right into our next reading. And again, that next reading will be for the entire community as well as that individual person. So for those of you who are ready to do so, then we will do that. Awesome. Lily, thank you so much. Lily, I just got, yes, the confirmation. Lily just reactivated their Patreon. So Lily, we're gonna hang tight because I want to be able to invite like a new person to be able to sign up for the Patreon, if that's cool. But Lily, maybe if you want to do, Lily, honestly, if you want to do like a one-on-one reading sometime, maybe we can do that, if that makes sense. But Lily, I'd love to be able to invite like someone who's brand new to be able to sign up for the Patreon as well, since like it's already been like kind of like this is like a double sign up in that circumstance. So Lily, does that work? Can we do that? I would honestly prefer that, if we can do that. And yeah, and if we do a private reading, Lily, then we can go a little bit deeper for that. Okay, cool. So Lily, thank you again for just making sure that your pledge for the Patreon was updated. So again, we are going to do our next reading for the first person officially to sign up for the Patreon for the first time. And again, it only takes a few minutes to sign up, about 3 minutes to sign up. And Lily, thank you again. Inner Flame, Light Love Lives on Patreon, on Instagram. So another thing, like through the Instagram, when you sign up to the Instagram at the $11 level, you have the option to join as a leading member within the Paradigm Shift Central community. The Paradigm Shift Central community is a global team of conscious creators and leaders. Leading members are people who work in our private community space, along access to me, to be able to have access to me as a conscious media creation coach, and they get to be able to join our weekly broadcast that we do as a team. And this next broadcast is this Wednesday, and that is our Dream Class broadcast. So that is going to be Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we talk a lot about dreaming, dream theory, and dream practices and dream stories. So make sure you're subscribed to my YouTube channel at Skull Babylon if you're looking to be able to tune in for that. But it will be broadcasted through my Facebook as well. So I'm just posting a link for that for my YouTube into the chat. So again, for those of you on for those of you Ryder, yeah, I think that was the same. Yes, that is the same Lily. So for those of you on Facebook right now, thank you so much for joining in. Again, check out my Patreon when you can. We're standing by right now. We're going to do our next reading as soon as we have a new Patreon supporter signed up and ready to go. And again, I'll give you like the quick recap. At the $5 level, you can get a reading on air plus discounts for the shop. At the $11 level, you can get a beautiful Lemurian Light Guardian Crystal with the understanding that you're going to keep contributing ongoing to the best of your ability. And you can also get access to me as a private conscious media creation coach, which is worth like over $200 a month. You can join our private membership space as a leading member. You can join our on-air broadcast. You get discounts to the shop. You get to publish content through the website as the project evolves. And then at the higher tiers, again, you can get like me, you can do like private one-on-one soul coaching with me at like the $90, and then there's like a $300, and then there's like a $900. And I'm not trying to scare you away with those numbers, but straight up, like the value is there. And for the people who are investing in that level, you're investing in yourself, but you're investing in the entire team. So again, team, I know a lot of you are just like not here to hear me talking about the Patreon, and I understand, but I appreciate you holding space because I'm doing the job here. I'm doing my work here, which is again not just providing tarot, but inviting people to support the ongoing work that we are doing for the entire community. So help us reach our goals on Patreon with the Patreon link on screen that you can see. The link is in my bio, is in the info for the YouTube video. And awesome. Chandra, thank you so much for your comment. Chandra saying, I'll sign up soon as I'm able to, probably Friday. Chandra, I'll tell you some good news. What you can actually do if you want is that if you're confident in signing up Friday, the Patreon contributions only process on the first of each month. So the first of each month being Saturday. So if you want, Chandra, you could literally sign up now, but then the processing of it, like the payment for it, doesn't process until the 1st of February. So if you feel like if you're waiting on money, Chandra, you could sign up now, but then the money won't come out until Saturday. So if that makes a difference for you, Chandra, maybe you might want to sign up right now. And if that's the case, thank you either way. And again, that will initiate the next reading that we do. And again, thank you everyone again just for hanging out. And I know the first reading that we did like had some good resonance to it, and a lot of people were pretty inspired by it. And again, this is just practice for me too. So I'm going to be doing readings here. Like, again, I'm going to be on this broadcast for a little bit. I have to walk my dog, so I have to take a break. But then I'll be back later tonight. And literally, we're just going to be like, again, doing tarot readings. This is a chance for me to like say hello to people and to get them to be able to like check out more of my content and to be able to connect further with our community as well. So again, for those of you who may just be here for the first, yeah, Justin, I see your comment. Go veganism. Yes, thumbs up. For those of you in the 1111 movement group, if the video's skipping, go watch it on my profile. If it's skipping, sometimes it does, and I'm not exactly sure why. I think it's just the fact that I got so many things running at once. So again, for those of you here right now, we're getting ready to go into our next reading as soon as we have our next Patreon person signed up. Again, when we do these broadcasts, we're providing awesome readings for the community, awesome value, building the team, inviting people to join on the Patreon, which is a monthly contribution where they can get all sorts of cool stuff. And again, if it's your first time meeting me, I understand that that's a big jump where you're just like, hey, I just met this guy. But at the same time, I want to be able to like provide you with the confidence, and not just from me, like let the other people in the community, and other people in the community, please feel free to like vouch for me, leave your like comments and just be like, yo, like Brendan is fucking awesome. He's been fucking like rocking it for like over 10 years. The amount of value he provides for the community is through the roof and is so incredibly needed right now to be able to bring us together as a team of real world superheroes as shifters. And everybody here should sign up for the Patreon, even if it's just like a couple dollars a month. That way, so that we as a community can keep having more awesome content and more awesome sacred digital space, guided global meditations, weekly team broadcasts, helping feature conscious media creators, being able to provide my one-on-one coaching as a conscious coach, conscious media creation coach. And yeah, and the Light Guardian Crystals. It's all about the Light Guardian Crystals. I'll show you this one. This one, so you can see here some of the Light Guardian Crystals. This is actually for all of them. You can they actually have like a beautiful light color changing option as well, which is super cool. So, all right. So again, team, I'm ready to get into the next reading as soon as we have that next Patreon person signed up and ready to go. And yeah, the Light Guardian, like these in themselves, this like sells for like, it sells between like, a Lemurian one sells between like $60 and $100 depending on the size. But again, these in themselves are a super awesome value that I hand make and provide as like thank yous to people signing up for the Patreon. For those of you on Patreon, if you haven't already got your Lemurian Light Guardian Crystal, make sure you send me a message and make sure that I can get the information for where to mail it to you. So again, for those of you who are here, let's get ready to get into that next reading by reaching our goal of 2 Patreon signups for this broadcast. For those of you who are being patient, go ahead and send some vibes out there and just be like, to whoever is able, sign up to the Patreon, help Brendan reach the goals, and let's get into that next reading as soon as possible. Woo, 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 woo. So again, the Patreon is a monthly micro contribution to support the awesome work that we do. I got some full-length movies that I have in production that I'm really excited to be able to get back into. And again, those movies will come out as the Patreon support continues to develop. So again, for those of you who are ready for the readings, again, we're going to do our next reading for the next person who signs up for the Patreon. And again, even if we get like 2 people signed up right away, we'll do one and then we'll do another reading, and I'll take my dog out as soon as I can. But you guys are a priority. So let's get 2 Patreon signups as soon as possible. And again, reminder that yes, you can sign up for the Patreon at the $11 level, but if you want to, if you find value in it, if you're still just getting to know me, that's understandable. But if you're just like, yo, Brendan, I really like the value you put out, and I'd love to work as like a one-on-one like client with you through coaching and like have you in my corner, then like, yeah, like sign up at the higher levels for the Patreon, which again, you can sign up at the $96 level. You can sign up at the $300 level. You can sign up at the $900 level. Whatever works for you is all equally appreciated. And again, that's an investment for you, for the community, and for the work that we're doing together as a team. So thank you again, everyone. Again, we're going to get right into this next reading as soon as we have that next Patreon supporter ready and signed up. And as you can tell, I've done these broadcasts plenty of times. So yes, super patient Cancerian here, hyped up and ready to provide value. And for the 40-ish people tuned in right now, send some good vibes and help motivate that next person to be able to sign up for the Patreon as soon as possible. And we'll get into that next reading as soon as we have that next person signed up. There we go. And there's a pinned comment for the Patreon in the link there for the 1111 movement group. And thank you again, Lily, for adding your support to the Patreon again. Thank you to all the people joined in right now. Let's get right into that next reading as soon as we can. So if you're like waiting for it, and again, when you sign up for the Patreon, like, you're getting involved with like a super dope community of conscious creators and leaders who are like here to support and like work together on like creating and collaborating. And the project is constantly evolving. So like getting involved now is like a great time to be able to do so. And so again, there's like 40 people tuned in right now. It would be unfortunate for those people to just be like, man, I waited for a reading and it didn't happen. So now I have to leave for work or something like that. So let's get that reading in as soon as we're ready. And again, by me being able to create the conditions for this is by being able to funnel the support towards being able to help us do even more readings for this. So you're in control of this broadcast, and you can sign up for the Patreon as soon as you're ready and as soon as we have that next support. And again, sometimes when we do it, we get like boom, like 3 Patreon signups in a row. Speaking of Patreon signups, we did just get a new Patreon signup. So there we go. Awesome. All right. So our next Patreon signup is for Henry. Henry, thank you so much for adding your support to the Patreon. Henry is signed up on the Patreon at the $5 level. Henry, let's give a nice big thank you to Henry in the chat. And Henry, wherever you are in the chat, let me know. Just be like, hey, this is Henry here in the chat, and I'll be able to coordinate with you as we get ready to get into our next reading. And you can also choose, Henry, if you would like the Ananda Tarot deck or the Lightworker Oracle deck. And thank you so much, Henry. Again, not just for supporting what I do, but again, for being able to help us do this next reading for the community. So I'm keeping an eye open for wherever Henry is in the chat. And it may just be taking them a second to get back here. And so once we confirm where they are, then we'll get right into our next reading. And again, for those of you who are again like eager to get the next reading, and again, like, you're not just signing up for tarot readings. The tarot readings are like an incentive, but you're signing up for like so much more. So, all right. All right, so we do got this next reading coming up. I just want to be able to confirm for where Henry is. And thank you again, Henry, for adding your support. So Henry, wherever you are in the chat, go ahead and let me know. For those of you tuning in on Instagram, go ahead and click the link in my bio to be able to join in there. And I'll update the on-screen graphic as we're just waiting for Henry to be able to drop a comment into the chat. Helga, thank you so much. Awesome. Henry, thank you for joining in. I can see your comment there. Just give me 2 seconds here. I'm just going to update the on-screen graphic. So put that up to about 140, 164 and update there. And again, even with the Patreon, like Henry, you're signed up at the $5 level. If you're sticking around and you feel called to update to the $11 level, again, you're always welcome to do so because the contributions don't process until the first of the month. So awesome. All right, Henry, let me know which deck you would like. Would you like the Ananda Tarot deck or the Lightworker Oracle deck? And again, everybody here, just give a nice thank you to Henry. So get right into this next reading, and I'm just gonna take a second to breathe here. All right, I'm working up a sweat. Seriously, like I hope for those of you watching, you can understand that, like, yeah, when I do these broadcasts, like there is energy involved. Like it is like exercising. So all right, so just waiting for Henry to be able to confirm which card they would like to be able to do. All right. Okay, and I'm actually just going to restart the broadcast on the 1111 movement group. So for those of you on the 1111 movement group, hang tight. I'm going to restart the watch party there because sometimes the feed glitches out. So we're going to restart it and then more people can join in. All right, end watch party. Okay. All right, so Henry, I'll be able to see your comment in 1 second. And Lightworker. Okay, dope. I had a feeling you were going to go for that. Okay. All right, so again, we're just going to restart the feed in the Lightworker, the 1111 movement group. And once we do that, we'll get right into this next reading. Henry, how long have you been following my contents? Like, I recognize your name, and thank you again for being here and for just adding your support. All right, here we go. Okay. All right. Aloha to those of you watching this in the 1111 movement group as we get ready to jump right into our next reading. Our newest Patreon supporter, Henry, is going to be the next person that we're doing our reading for. And I'm actually just going to restart the Instagram feed as well. For those of you on Instagram, click the link in my bio to tune in on YouTube. I have to restart this real quick. 1 second, Henry. Thank you for your patience. Yeah, and Henry, I'll read your comments there in a second as we go through. Yeah, Henry, if you don't mind sharing, yeah, I'd love to just know like how long you've been tuned in to the content that we've been creating through the Paradigm Shift Central community. And yeah, and again, like if you feel called, you're more than welcome to be able to get your foot in the door if you want to be able to get involved as a leading member as well. All right. So Henry, just let me know in the comments that you're ready for this next reading and we'll get right into it. So for those of you who are tuning in right now, we're just about to get into our second tarot reading for this broadcast. We'll be back here a little bit later tonight as well. And the next reading that we are going to do is for Henry, who is our newest Patreon supporter. And again, the readings after this, we'll keep doing them as more people sign up for the Patreon. And for those of you who are here for the first time, stand by. I'll tell you more about what to be able to expect without having to repeat myself. So for those of you tuned in on Instagram, click the link in my bio. We're just about to get into our next reading. And thank you again, everyone, so much for joining in. So again, let's do this. All right. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, Henry. Thanks for tuning in. This is Henry's first time watching our content online. Very cool, Henry. That means a lot for you to be able to sign up. Awesome. All right. Just making sure everything's okay. All right. For those of you in the 1111 movement group, go ahead and drop an 1111 in the chat to confirm that you can hear me okay. And Henry is going to choose the Lightworker Oracle deck. So we will get right into this next reading. And again, as we're doing this, feel free to keep signing up for the Patreon as we do this. and we'll get right into a next reading as soon as we can. All right, Henry, let's get into the Lightworker Oracle deck. All right. For those of you tuning in on the 1111 movement group, we're just about to get into our next reading. Additional readings are available for people as they sign up to the Patreon. You can see the link on screen, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go. But in the meantime, just allow yourself to be here, be present, and enjoy. So, awesome. All right. Henry, you are ready. Perfect. Awesome. For those of you who are here for perhaps the first time, welcome. My name is Brendan. I'm a full-time conscious media creator, director, Paradigm Shift Central, award-winning Canadian filmmaker, free hugger, real-world superhero, hacker, shamanic, social alchemist, all of these things. So thank you for joining in, for being a part of our broadcasts. All right, Henry, let's do this reading. So for Henry, our newest Patreon supporter, just inviting you to be able to close your eyes. Let's drop into this space of gratitude. Let's take a moment here to be able to connect with your breath, Henry. For everybody here, I invite you to do the same. Close your eyes. Put your hand on your chest if you wish. Just connect with your breath. For everybody tuned in, I'm just inviting you to be able to hold space, just imagining us in this circle. Each one of us, our own pillar, our own beacon of light, our own modern day gray Jedi. Activated avatars. So bring yourself into the space of gratitude, Henry. Just feeling the love and support of other people who are here and passionate about helping change the world. Making a difference, of shifting the paradigms. Henry, as you're in this space, I invite you to focus on the intention of show me what I need to see. Speak it to the universe. Or show us what we need to see, and ask it for the team as well. I want you to hold that intention, speak it to your heart, speak it through your mind, speak it through your voice. And as you're in this space and focus on that intention, Henry, take a few more breaths here as we charge the deck. When you are ready, type now into the chat as I charge it up a little bit more. And oh my goodness, how the waters continue to flow through these many rivers as we continue to learn what we are here to know. This ancient path of remembrance, this ancient dance of transcendence, of all the ways in which we can play, of all the ways that we can make this happen. As we continue to love with the power of our art, we continue to change the world through the magic of our heart. As Henry types now into the chat, we shall split the deck and see what message the universe has. Yo, Raven, good to see you. Raven, I owe you a Light Guardian Crystal. Make sure I get that to you. All right. Okay, very cool. The card that we have pulled for Henry, our newest Patreon supporter, and thank you again to everyone for being here, is number 24, Initiation by Air. Throw that to the Instagram family there as well. So number 24, Initiation by Air. Give me 2 seconds here. We're going to open up into the book, and again, we're going to read a little bit more, and I'll explain about the card in 1 second, the visual. All right. For those of you on Instagram, if you prefer, go ahead and click the link in my bio to be able to watch on YouTube. That's where you can kind of like see more of the primary camera. For those of you on the 1111 movement group, go ahead and drop those 1111s in the chat. Let us know that you're here. Please feel free to share this broadcast with your friends. All right. If you are here, this message is for you. All right. So, Initiation by Air. What do we have? This is a beautiful image here of this individual whose chest is exploding with these little doves of light that are just like soaring into the sky, and they're standing above this like mountaintop throughout this valley. Kind of looks like Arizona, kind of looks like Sedona if I didn't know any better. And you have this beautiful sunset in the background, these clouds kind of like bringing in the night sky behind them. Again, just the arms wide open. This person obviously has wings. you don't need wings to be an angel, but let's just say they're an angel anyways. And they got this nice little like half garb thing. I like that style. Like basically looks like a towel, but it's not a towel. It's official dress for angels, I guess. And yeah, and just like the presence on their face, you can just see this beautiful light emanating from their chest. And yeah, beautiful, beautiful image on that card. So again, let's read a little bit more into this. And again, for those of you who are here, as we're doing this, let's get that next Patreon sign up ready to go. And we'll do the next reading for the next person signed up for the Patreon. Again, you can see the link on there. That's to support the work that we do for the community, for you to get readings, for you to get coaching, and lots of other cool stuff as well. So thank you, Henry, for being our most recent Patreon supporter. And we'll keep an eye open for new Patreon supporters as we go. All right. Number 24, initiation by air. If you're watching this, this message is for you. 24, initiation by air. You have a strong and powerful mind. The mind can be a great asset. It can bring comfort, peace, and strength as you take your spiritual journey. It can also be a dark and destructive force, undermining your power, making you doubt your own heart, and keeping you trapped in fear. The mind developed without a loving spiritual practice can be a frightening weapon rather than a liberating sword. How will you choose to use your mind power? Your mind can become more spacious and luminous if you practice emptying it on a regular basis. The radiant mind can be an empty warrior. The radiant mind can be a mighty warrior against fear and despair, encouraging you with thoughts of optimism. When not given a chance to empty, however, the mind becomes overwhelmed with unprocessed information. Much of it will be fear-based programming perpetuated by mass media, which is invested in controlling others and manipulating them by fear. This initiation, which liberates and opens the mind, empowers advanced souls to free themselves from manipulation and control. The hallmark of a dysfunctional society is that the mind is expected to dominate the incantations of the heart, rather than serve it. The mind can be trained to be a great manager, creator, and defender of what has genuine value to the heart. But the power to feel what has meaning for us, what moves us enough to rise above our fears and risk growth, comes from the heart, not the mind. When the mind is given the task to feel and the heart is told not to feel, paralysis, confusion, and discomfort are experienced. As you enter into this initiation, you will feel the need to step back from what you have been taught and learn to question what you once held to be true. As you disengage from habitual mental patterns, you will begin to observe your thoughts rather than be swept up in them. Soon you will begin to experience yourself as the peaceful, steady light of love and truth that you are. Will the mind go through its motions? Yes. However, there is no need to be afraid of this. One step at a time, your spirit shall guide your mind back towards peace. You will change the way you relate to your own mind, becoming more empowered. As you soften the strident action of the mind, you will see that you can use your mental gifts wisely, rather than allowing them to cause you pain. Those who have strong mental energies can accomplish much in terms of communication, invention, and creativity. But they also often suffer from destructive self-talk and mental obsessions. They may even be addicted to thinking, which can wear them out and create cravings for sugar that can lead to depression and illness. Instead, it is much better to regularly take time out from the mind and be in the moment, feeling energized, playful, and at peace. Your mind is a powerful creature. Tame it with persistence, compassion, kindness, and strength. Give yourself rest and an opportunity to switch off and empty your mind as regularly as you can. There is no need to judge or despair. This is an advanced initiation and one that is brought to you only when you are ready. Consider it a sign of your spiritual progress. The world will benefit from you as you learn to handle your mental energies more constructively. This oracle is indeed an omen of greater peace and happiness in your imminent future. And then there's an invocation here, which we'll read a little bit afterwards, after we talk about this a little bit more. So again, as we're diving into this card, I just want to be able to, again, just for those of you who are in the comments, for those of you looking for a next reading, again, they will be available for Patreon supporters as we go through this. For this reading, just focusing on this one for our newest Patreon supporter, Henry. And again, let's just dive a little bit deeper in this. So we'll keep an eye out on those new Patreon supporters. But again, this is a very, very important and powerful card. And if any of it resonates with you, even just from what was written from the book, drop those 1111s. Raven, I can see your comment there. Love it. Thank you. And also saying, wow, gracias. Thank you, Katina. And again, what I want to be able to really hit upon with this card is that we as like individuals have been brought up in a society where we have been told what to think, but we haven't been taught how to think. And this is a huge thing because like when you think about it, we are like literally in this advanced spiritual like spaceship, this advanced like biometaphysical computer that has a way of processing, that has a way of operating. And we ourselves are just kind of like brought into this reality, but we aren't necessarily given the instruction manual. We aren't necessarily given the teachings and the tools and the assets to be able to understand how to drive this vehicle well. And oftentimes is what happens is that, you know, like driving a manual car, it's like our mind, if we're not taught how to drive a manual car and you're shifting gears and you're like, you're just like wear and tear on the entire system. And then if you keep doing that and no one's actually telling you, just be like, oh, this is actually how you drive the car. And you keep doing that because you don't know any better. Your car is going to break. You're going to screw it up. It's going to get messed up. Now, at the same time, I think it's understandable to say that each and every single one of us has learned from experience a bit about what it's like to know what it feels like when the mind is in those places where patterns and thoughts are looping. Obsessive, compulsive, like thoughts are just kind of like running rampant. And it's kind of like drawing energy away from our heart, and it's making it hard for us to be present because we're in this space where we're just trying to go to sleep at night, but things keep looping and we just can't slow down. And we're just like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know what to do. This is a great card that reminds us that there are ways, that there are methods, that we can cope. And whether you're approaching this from the practice of simply meditation and spirituality, or whether you're approaching this from the side of neuroscience, biohacking, and NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and even self-hypnosis, there are ways for you to be able to understand that your mind is something that you can actually gain far more control over once you give yourself permission to do so. And so, for example, I'll just give you a quick little tip because I don't want to make it sound like it's just like, oh, easier said than done. There's and I'm still learning this. I'll just say this, but there's information that I've recently come across from a person who is trained with Shaolin monks, who is an expert in neuroscience, who does a lot of NLP, and they're helping people literally like cope with anxiety. This guy's name is Chris Wiley. You'll hear more about him later. I'm working with him, and I'm super blessed to be working with him because he's like a fucking badass, like magician, wizard, shaman, Viking guy. But one of the things that he was teaching me that I'll pass on to you is to be able to understand that the thoughts in our mind, even though it may feel like we don't have control of what's arising and what's happening within them, we do actually have control over the ability to be able to dial the speed in which they play. And so this is something that, again, you may not even realize that you have this power. But what you can actually do is that you can actually take a thought and you can actually adjust the speed, and in the same way you can crank that speed up, and then suddenly that thought becomes like really just like, and again, if that's not a happy thought, it could be a thought that becomes like very frustrating, And it's just like, it can be like, it's just like, oh, you're not worthy, you're stupid, you're this, and it just builds and builds and builds. Or it could be like a memory from the past, and it could be something trauma based, and it loops and it loops and loops and loops and loops. This can be very, very straining on the mind, and it fatigues the mind. However, the good news is that in the same way you can crank up the speed, you can also turn it down. You can also reduce the speed at which the thoughts play back in your mind. And so the next time you find yourself kind of like dealing with a thought that's kind of like obsessive or something like that, slow it down. Slow down the thought so much to the point where it becomes almost humorous, where the sounds become drawn out. And it becomes so slow that the tone of it almost shifts into a frequency that is like a white noise. And instead of it being like, oh, you're worthless, or you're this, or remember that time when this happened, instead it just kind of goes, then eventually you can get good at this, and you can realize that you got control over that you can actually dial that back in any situation to the best of your ability. It takes practice, but you can practice doing that as a way within the bigger stuff that I'll talk about in a second to be able to change the way in which you relate to your thoughts, to become the observer of them, and to be able to know that you actually have far more control over them, and that you can slow them down to the point where it's not just constantly looping. And then in that moment, connect with breath, connect with joy, bring yourself into a place. And this is something that's powerful for everybody here. Think about a moment where you felt fucking awesome. Think about a moment where you felt in your power, where you felt inspired. That feeling, whatever it is for you, you can activate that. You can give your body permission and the programming to be able to initiate that feeling in any moment. The mind, when left unchecked, will focus on things that usually are not in our best interests. But when we become responsible, which again, what this card is really saying is saying, hey, now is the time to be responsible for your mind. Left unchecked, it will do the things that are not in your best interests. It will create problems where there aren't problems. It will reach for the chip bag because it's right there over on the counter. It will smoke the cigarette because that's an impulse that you want to do. It will look up the pornography because that's what's in front of you, or whatever it is, any sort of vice or impulse. But when you allow yourself to understand that the mind is something in which you can pick and choose where you place your focus, and you can get better at being able to focus on the things that bring up the feelings and the experience of joy, the feelings of empowerment. And any time in the future where stress might arise, it's not that stress doesn't happen, but you'll be able to relate to it differently, kind of like the previous card. You'll be able to bring yourself into that place of power, and you'll be able to use that place as a launch point for clarity to be able to make the best decisions possible in that moment, instead of making it out of a place of kind of like frantic fear and things like that. So for you, Henry, and for anybody else listening to this card, this is a great card that just reminds us of, hey, have you been taking the time to really practice relating to your mind? And if you need help with that, maybe reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with Chris, and he could probably like do a one-on-one session with you, because I'm still learning from him, and I'm like getting I'm being able to like get a better idea of like how to be able to teach this stuff too, and through my own experience I've had it as well. But there are experts out there. There are people out there. There's neuroscience out there. You can trigger your mind. You can give your body permission to focus on the thoughts that are literally just like, what would it feel like to literally carry joy with you as a choice? As a choice. and to know that that choice is something that you can work on stepping into. And I understand, obviously, there's caveats here, and people who are living, again, with like OCD and things like that. I'm not trying to say that my answer is going to be something that's going to apply to everyone. But even in cases like with anxiety, there are ways to get help. There are ways to reprogram the mind, to reprogram the body, to reprogram the way in which we relate with our thoughts. And again, this is a great card that even at the very least just encourages us to practice sitting down in meditation, to practice connecting with our breath, to practice anchoring into our heart. And so the next time that you're in meditation, I want you to practice meditating on a feeling of your power. And then I want you to kind of like bring that feeling into your body. And then I want you to visualize this feeling kind of spinning like a wheel. And it kind of like builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. And it moves through your entire body, and feel what that feeling feels like. And then with your ability to give yourself permission, I want you to understand that that's a feeling that you can literally bring up into your body in any moment. So the next time that you're kind of like going into a situation that might be a little challenging, remind yourself, oh, what was that feeling? Oh, let's go back there. Okay. You bring it up. All right. I'm ready. Boom. I'm ready. I'm focused. Let's do this. Let's dial in. Let's get focused on that next objective. So again, this is a card where there's a few angles to this card to really be able to approach from, but it really is something where we have to understand. Yo, Savannah, good to see you. Anybody here on Instagram, click the link in my bio, tune on YouTube. Again, for those of you looking for a reading, they are available for Patreon supporters. Let's get one more Patreon sign up before I walk my dog. That would be dope. So again, this is also a card that really just reminds us that like our brain is a byproduct of our environment. And so we have to be very, very responsible and aware of the environment that we are putting our brain in. You have to be aware of your mental diet. You have to be aware of the things that you are feeding yourself mentally. Are you watching like movies that are like perpetuating messages that aren't fully serving you? Or maybe you're watching documentaries that are really educating you. What is your social media feed like? Is it images that are reminding you that your self-worth is only based on superficial image? Things like that. Or is it things that are like promoting spiritual messages, holistic perspectives, motivational insights, things of that manner? So this is a great time, again, for Henry, for anybody listening to this. Give yourself permission to do kind of like an audit on your mind and to become aware of like where there may be like self-limiting beliefs, self-limiting thought patterns, and check in with yourself. Because like, where are those coming from? Is that something that literally you want to tell yourself? I don't think anybody here would like legitimately be like, well, like I suck at that, therefore my value is crap. Nobody wants to tell themselves that. So if you are telling yourself that, it probably came from something that's not you. And then it kind of got like into your brain and then it started looping, but it's something that you can kind of work on transforming. And the next time it arises, see it as a prompt for meditation. See it as a way for just being able to be like, oh, there's that thought again, and kind of, I know a lot of people are kind of talking about this in the chat, separating yourself as the observer of your thoughts rather than just the thoughts, and being able to observe it in a way that's just like, okay, there's the thought, I observe it, I don't grab onto it, I let it move by like a cloud. I am the sky, the thoughts are the cloud. And then within that, it prompts as a meditation to maybe bring myself back to my breath, to bring myself back to my power, to bring myself back to that feeling of confidence. Henry, I'm going to read your comment there in the chat. Henry says, this card definitely resonates with me. I have a fear of media, Hollywood especially, and my mind often doubts myself and others. I try to stay positive, though I think dark thoughts at least once a day. Thanks so much for this reading, Wolf. Is meditation the best way to achieve clarity and empty one's mind? Honestly, like, meditation is one way, but I think just being able to become more aware of kind of like how the mind works, which again is honestly something I'm still learning. But it's not even just meditation. Honestly, Henry, what I would really, really, really recommend is just like a holistic approach to this, where if you're finding your thought processes are kind of like really focused on kind of like, again, dark things and negative things, what you want to be able to do is to bring more kind of like high vibe patterns into your life. And I'm not trying to sound cliche when I say this, but I'm literally saying it's not just one thing. What you should, and this goes for everyone, what you should focus on are things such as your diet, exercise, food, who you're hanging around with socially, and again, what your diet is in terms of like things you're ingesting through your thoughts and through your ears and through your presence and the people you're hanging around. So honestly, Henry, if you haven't already yet, I would encourage you to do things like wake up in the morning and go for a walk. I would encourage you to do things like practice gratitude. I would encourage you to do things like meditating on a candle before going to sleep. Start developing more routines. You can't just think that like, oh, okay, I'm just going to meditate and that's going to fix it. Not quite. The majority of us are fucked up across like a variety of spectrums. So that's not necessarily, and I'm not trying to say that as like, oh, we're fucked. It's like, oh, that's where we can improve. So how is your diet? How is your sleep pattern? Are you using cannabis frequently? Are you using other substances that are just kind of like, you know, like putting you into an emotional state where you're not fully present with your thoughts, but they're still kind of intrusive. And then you're just kind of like, oh man, I was feeling fine. And then I smoked a bowl and now my mind's kind of wandering. And now like, I kind of regret it, but why did I do that? But I did it anyways. And it's just a pattern. I'm saying this from experience, right? So you really have to be responsible on all spectrums. But let that responsibility be something that's inspiring for you to step into, and let me be here to help support. Let not just me, the community, because we're doing it together. And a lot of us are kind of, again, going through this process of like deprogramming what society has kind of done to us. So we have a lot of stuff that we have to unfuck. But it really comes down to the simple things. Again, get good food, get good sleep, try taking a break from cannabis, go get some exercise, start your morning by going for a walk. Before you even eat breakfast, just get a drink, get some water in you, and go for a walk, do a little bit of exercise, take a shower, end it cold, then eat breakfast. Try that. Notice how much that makes a difference. And again, using the cold shower as a training method to be able to like be in that place of resilience, of vigilance. So this is a card that's really about being able to step into our resilience as well. So our mind is a teacher. And sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes like the negative thoughts kind of arise, not because like the universe is just like, oh, we want you to stay like this forever, but it's actually like, oh, we actually want you to be able to get good at mastering your mind by understanding what one side of the spectrum feels like. And then through the process of you learning how to do so, you develop empathy, you develop understanding, you develop skill sets that can be passed on. And then through your own experience, maybe your friend will come up to you and just be like, hey man, like my thoughts are really kind of like all over the place. And you can be like, yo, you know what really worked for me? Getting some exercise, creating a good routine, taking a break from cannabis, doing some journaling, practicing gratitude, and practicing meditation, and surrounding myself with a community of like-minded individuals who understand my vision and my path. That's incredibly, incredibly important. So you have to kind of give yourself that whole holistic environment. That's the ecosystem. It's not just the one thing. So don't try meditation, try it for a day, and then just be like, well, that didn't do anything. That's naive. Bring meditation into the fore of all the little things that you can do. Make a habit of just like exercising for like half an hour a day. Notice the difference that will make, because again, that's literally releasing chemicals and everything like that. As you release like, again, like more of just like the endorphins, you'll find yourself just being able to be like, whoa, like I feel physically better, therefore my thoughts feel better. Your thoughts are going to be a reflection of kind of like the fact that something's not right. And that's not to say you're doing something quote unquote wrong, but it just means there's ways for things to shift. Again, usually when we get into those places of like deep, like kind of like anxiety and depression, that's kind of the body's natural way of saying something needs to change. So instead of just staying there, let that be a call to action, to be like, what can change? And to know, and again, this is where the value of community is to just have a little bit of clarity and direction on what that change can look like, what those steps can be. Henry, let me know if that resonates with you. Drop an 1111 in the chat. For anybody else here, drop those 1111s as well. And again, your mind is a powerful creature. Tame it with persistence, compassion, kindness, and strength. I think that's a great way of saying it. Tame your mind. Tame your mind with persistence, compassion, kindness, and strength. So again, even for myself, if I were to just kind of like have like some sort of, and again, sometimes the thoughts, it's like they're not even ours. Like it's kind of like you're like in an ocean. It's kind of like it passes through you. And then when it does, again, you choose whether or not you grab onto it and identify with it, or you just kind of observe it and be like, oh, I see you, old conditioned thought, and I actually send you compassion and tap your butt as you fly away or something like that, right? I don't know, I just imagine it's like a little dog or something like that. It'd be like, hey, little buddy, like, what are you doing here? Like, you're not supposed to be here. Like, get along, little buddy. And then it runs away or something like that. But again, you know, like, the mastering the mind is why we're here. And being able to tame the mystical beast. I like that, Ryder. Being able to tame the mystical beast of our mind is a part of our growth. It's equally as important as getting good at diet and getting good at exercise and getting good at sleep. It's all part of the same thing. And when we really bring compassion into our life for ourselves, to treat ourselves like the beloved, it allows us to, again, be able to step into more of our potential. So again, Henry, you're not just doing this for you. You're doing this for other people. You're doing this for other people as well. You're doing this in the presence that you can show up. Morphic, thanks for joining in. Awesome to have you here, and thank you for your support on the Patreon. Give yourself a rest and an opportunity to switch off and empty your mind as regularly as you can. There is no need to judge or despair. This is an advanced initiation and one that is brought to you only when you are ready. Consider it a sign of your spiritual progress. Your world will benefit from you as you learn to handle your mental energies constructively. This oracle is indeed an omen of greater peace and happiness in your imminent future. So Henry, for you watching this, for anybody else watching this, I leave this message with you, and it's up to you to choose what you do with it. But let this be a call to action for you to be able to be like, fuck yeah, I can do this. And I'm figuring it out as I go, but I know what my next steps are. And maybe that next step for you is to go get some exercise. I would literally, like, that is one of the simplest but most effective things that you can do. Find yourself in kind of a negative thought process, move your body. It's usually the energy in the body that's stagnant. Move your body, go out, exercise, spend time in nature, spend time with other people who are going to be able to appreciate you for your value. Stop hanging around people who are going to treat you like shit. That's not very compassionate to yourself. And give yourself like good food. Spend time creating space to practice your creative gifts. Spend time, again, just kind of like, not to say you always have to be up, because again, part of it is just kind of giving yourself a little bit of time to turn things off. And turning things off could just mean, you know, going out in nature and going for a walk as well. I know for myself, I work paradigm shift like a lot. Sometimes for me, the way I turn off is by like going to the movies. And even then, I'm usually there for like inspirational purposes. But when I go to the movies, again, I'm like literally there to just be able to be like, okay, as I'm watching this movie, I'm not thinking about what the next video is I'm doing or what this is doing. So it's like kind of just giving yourself a little bit of a break, but not making sure that you're avoiding the work at the same time. This oracle is indeed an omen of greater peace and happiness in your imminent future. So for you, Henry, sending you so much love and support. You got this, dude. Do the work. It is here for you. Your mind is again, like, your mind is something for you to be able to master. And again, when you allow yourself to become more aware of how you can balance the mind, allow it to be observed from a presence within your heart as well. As you get more like sort of like awareness of how the mind operates and how you can gain more control of it, allow that to be invitation for you to bring more presence into your heart. And then it's, again, finding the balance of the two. So you're not just so much in your head or not just too much in your heart, but it's literally the intelligence of both. It's literally like a brain within your heart as well, right? We forget that. So I'm going to read the invocation here. The invocation, I want everybody here to just kind of pretend that they themselves are reading this. Henry, drop those comments in the chat if this resonates with you, and you can just wait till after the invocation. So for everybody here reading this, please feel free to just kind of like pretend that you're reading this with me. And again, if this resonates with you, drop those 1111s. And thank you again, everyone, for your supports. And again, let's get one more Patreon sign up before we wrap up this broadcast. So if you enjoyed, again, the value and the inspiration and the support that we're creating here, not just for you, but for the entire community, then sign up for the Patreon. And again, Henry, I would really encourage you, Henry, if you're feeling called to to like sign up for the leading members. Like, I would encourage you to sign up for that, because that may be something that's just gonna, again, see it as an investment where you're like, okay, a couple extra bucks here. Like, normally I would spend that on like a bag of, weed, or just, and I'm not making fun of weed. Like, we smoke weed here in Canada land, but, or maybe you would spend it on coffee or something else. Like, what would you rather invest in? What's worth more to you, right? Like, $5 on something that's whatever, or like $5 more on like being in that space that's going to help you really anchor into your potential. So Henry, if you want to think about signing up for the leading member, dude, I would highly encourage you to do that. And then again, you can have access to me for like conscious media creation coach. I'm just going to read Henry's comment here. Yes, that resonates. I'm currently trying to quit drugs and eat more whole food, plant-based. I've gone off cigarettes for the past 3 days, except for the occasional 1 or 2 cigarettes a day or less, and I feel better already. Dude, that is awesome. Like, everybody here, can we just give just some love for Henry? Like, just again, like, you're making the steps, and that's so important. Also, I have recently started taking morning hikes through nature with my new roommate and her dog. Before, I never did that. Dude, that is awesome. That is awesome, Henry. Like, Henry, again, like, I think you getting this card is confirmation that like you're on the right path. And you wouldn't have gotten this card if you weren't already doing what you were doing. Again, this is like what you needed to hear. This was a really powerful card for you to be able to receive right now, and not just for you, other people as well. So thank you, Henry, for being here and holding space and for being transparent. And again, your journey is more than just your own. Your ability to kind of like go through this is, again, giving you that empathetic experience, because there's a lot of other people that are going through it right now, and maybe your story will be something that you can share. I would encourage you to even think about that, where, if you feel called, put up a post on Instagram and just be like, hey, I just want to let everyone know that I'm like, this is the directions that I'm moving my life in. And you sharing that on social media is like actually a way for you to inspire other people, but also to bring in your accountability. And it becomes exciting. It becomes a joy. It becomes something where like every day it's just like, whoa, okay, the momentum's building. So I think that what's important for you, Henry, is to keep the consistency, to keep building the momentum. So here's the invocation. I'm going to read this invocation. And again, for everybody here, just imagine that you're kind of reading it too. And Henry, dude, fuck yeah, man. All right. Invocation. Again, you can kind of repeat it in your head as I'm reading this. I call upon the unconditionally loving ones to help me empty and refresh my mind, renewed in eternal love. May I express my freedom in making wise decisions that create joy and love in me and in the world. I ask for divine mercy, compassion, protection, and instruction to assist me in bringing my mind into loving consciousness. May the light of the divine shine unobstructed through my mind, bringing peace to the world. May the unconditionally loving helpers of humanity help bring light, healing, and joy to the minds of all. Through my own free will, so be it. So there you go. Number 24, initiation by air. And again, air is usually like the symbol for mind. That's why this is like initiation by air. It's initiation like of mind. So very, very cool. Awesome. Henry, thank you again. Sending you so much love and support. And again, I'm excited to just like, yeah, keep in touch, dude. Like, please, like you're involved with the community now. You're part of the community now. So again, through the Patreon sign up, you would have gotten a link to the team chat. Connect through the team chat. Like, again, you can kind of get involved there. And again, if you want to get more involved as a conscious media creator, expressing your passions and your art, let me know. That's something that is totally there as an option for you as you sign up for a leading member as well. So again, for everybody here, let's just give a nice thank you to Henry. And if there's more comments about how this resonated with you, please feel free to leave those in the comments. And I just need to take a little moment here to be able to take a little bit of tea break. So as it is right now, team, technically we've gotten one new Patreon for the sign up. The other one was Lily, who kind of like, they like re-signed up. And thank you again to both Lily and to Henry as well. And again, I'd love to be able to just invite more people to be able to sign up for the Patreon as we continue to build our team goals. Again, this is my work right now. And again, even if you're just like, yo, Brendan, maybe I don't even want a reading, but you're fucking awesome and I want you to keep doing what you're doing because it's providing value for the community, then go ahead and sign up for my Patreon. You can even sign up at a higher level and maybe you won't even be asking for anything. Maybe you're just like, yo, here's like $60 a month or something like that. And again, that just helps me show up like full force for the team. again, right now I'm at a really big point in my journey where I'm getting ready to like apply for like some dope apartments where I'm going to be like setting up and living and having like my work done and everything, and I'm going to be filming in it and stuff, and that's going to help me increase the production quality for a lot of things as well. And so again, this is me, like this, me right in here doing this work is me putting in the fucking like nose to the grindstone work as value in a very honored, heart authentic centered way, and building the Patreon support so that I'm manifesting that apartment with the support of the community. So thank you community for seeing the value that we are creating together. And again, I want that goal, like you're gonna see that where like again in the coming months it's gonna be like, I did it, team, here we are, we did it, I'm in the new apartment and we did this together, and let's fucking launch it, let's like keep fucking going, right? So awesome. So that was a great reading. Again, if this resonated with you, drop those 1111s in the chat. If this is your first time here, again, please feel free to just be able to connect with my social media channels, Instagram, Mystic Spider-Man, Skull Babylon on YouTube, and check out the Patreon when you can, just to be able to learn a little bit more about what I do as well. Ryder, I can see your comment. Ryder, you signed up for the Patreon off air and we didn't do a reading for you. However, I would like to be able to like even do a private reading for you, Ryder, as well. Again, I want to be able to kind of like keep the new readings like within the like use the broadcast to be able to invite in the new readings. So Ryder, if we want to do a one-on-one reading, let me know if that works for you. And Ryder, reminder, you're welcome to get involved as a leading member as well. So we got Dream Class coming up this Wednesday. If that's something you want to get involved with, let me know. Let me know, dude. So awesome. All right. Thank you, Erica, for your comments. Thank you, Erica, for adding your support for Henry as well. Henry saying thank you. Thank you, everyone. That was so much fun. Henry, thank you. That means a lot, dude. It really, really, really does. And again, that's why we're here. So let that just be another example of like what it is we're creating together. All right. All right, team. So with that said, we're gonna stand by. I want to be able to see if we can get another Patreon supporter within the next couple minutes. If not, then I am going to take a break and go walk my dog, which is fine. But if we do get another Patreon supporter in the next couple minutes, again, I can always do an off-air reading for you, and I can also again do one on air as well. So thank you again for those of you in the 1111 chat. Thank you, Helga. Again, the readings are available for people as they sign up for the Patreon. And again, the Patreon is a monthly micro contribution to support the work that I do. You can sign up there to get a beautiful Lemurian Light Guardian Crystal, a on-air private tarot reading session, access to me as a private conscious media creation coach, or again, just being able to like have like this your support added to the team for what we're creating together. And a reminder for Patreon supporters, if you're in a position to do so, like we make things accessible where it's at a way where it's literally like, again, you're signed up at the Patreon at what could be the $11 level, but to have access for me for coaching, like that is like, again, like us being able to do it at a level that's available and affordable. So if you are in a position where you're like, hey, I can maybe afford $20 or maybe $30 a month, doing that is like super, super helpful, because again, it just like adds like more ability for us to be able to serve others. All right. I can see people who are tuned in on the 1111 movement group. One second here. What do we got? Is that? Yeah, sometimes the comments are a little bit glitchy on the 1111 movement group. So I apologize for those of you who are like tuned in and if it's like glitchy and stuff like that. 7 looking for the free hugs. Free hugs right here. Everybody give themselves a free hug right now. Want everybody here to just kind of like take a moment here, just give themselves a hug. Just kind of like imagine that you're just like hugging someone you love, and just give your entire nervous system just permission to relax. And just like imagine they're just like speaking calmly and lovingly to you. Just add a little like rock to your body. Just take 3 more breaths here. Awesome. Thanks, Seven. All right. All right, team. So again, thank you so much everyone for joining in. Ryder, thank you so much. Morphic, Miss Yana, and Lily, thank you everyone for joining in. What we'll do right now, again, I want to just be able to check in. If anybody is in the process of signing up for the Patreon, let me know. Like, let me know right now as you are getting ready to sign up for the Patreon, and we can stand by. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go work out, and then we'll be back here a little bit later tonight, and we'll be doing some more readings. And we've gotten one new reading during this broadcast, and again, our objective is to be able to get two new Patreon signups, two new Patreon signups during this broadcast. For those of you on Instagram, if you haven't already yet, you can click the link in my bio. And again, if you want to sign up on Patreon at any point, please feel free to do that. And again, through the Patreon, I only just recently started offering like my high value like monthly coaching, which again is like you can work with me at like it's like a $90 level, a $300 level, or a $900 level. Well, actually, it's more like an $1,000 level. And again, for those of you who are just like it's like whoa, like that's expensive. Like again, like that's available for people to like be able to have like super dope access to me to be able to help support them in like just getting like really fucking like dialed in, having access to me, doing one-on-one time, just being able to like get focused on their goals, to work and even still to work with me as a conscious media creation coach. And yeah, and just like having that support to live like the best life that we can with a joy and excitement. So I think we're going to be wrapping up the broadcast in the next little bit. If there is, again, if there's anybody who wants to sign up for the Patreon, go ahead and sign up for it at any point. And again, we can always get you synced up with the updates through there. Thank you again to Henry, one of our recent Patreon supporters. Excuse me. All right, if you're tuned into this broadcast right now, just go ahead and drop an 1111 in the chat. Let me know if you're still there. And again, I can do one more reading right now if we have one more person signed up for the Patreon in the next couple minutes. And it only takes a couple minutes to be able to sign up. And again, thank you so much to everyone and to our Patreon supporters already. Awesome. Thank you, Onto. Thanks for joining in. And again, reminder for people already signed up on the Patreon, if you want to update your pledge on the Patreon before February 1st, please feel free to do that. Hey Valentina, thanks for joining in. We got a few new people joining in. Valentina, if this is your first time, we did just kind of do two readings, and the way how we do it is that we do readings for people firstly right out of the chat, and then we do additional readings for people as they sign up to my Patreon. And I'll post a link there into the chat. You can create a Patreon. Like, you don't have to have Patreon in order to be able to support on Patreon. You can like literally sign in even with like a Facebook account. So it's super, super easy. And again, in Valentina, if you're interested, like again, the Patreon, it's not just the readings. Like, it's so much more than that. Again, like signing up on the Patreon is like getting access to like our private membership community of conscious media creators, and to be able to like have access to me as a conscious media creation coach. Again, to be able to like even work with me one-on-one as your soul coach, so to speak, and being able to just like have like that space where we work together as a team and be involved on our future team broadcasts as well. So there's a lot of awesome stuff there. So Valentina, I would encourage you to even check it out if it's something you're interested in. Especially if you're like thinking about, you know, like creating more inspirational YouTube content. And again, even if you're just like, yo, like, have you thought about creating a Patreon for yourself? Like, are you an artist? Would you like to be able to like be supported in what you're doing for a living? Would you like clarity, and would you like to be able to have assistance and have me in your corner? Like, that's part of what I'm here to do. Like, I'm literally helping other people on the team, like building their own Patreons and building their own community and helping them as conscious media creators. because again, that's something that's incredibly valuable. And a big part of that is, again, with the vision that over the next 5 years, it's my objective to be able to help like over 100 conscious media creators become self-sustained in what they do. 7, thank you so much for your support. It is all equally appreciated. Yeah, Ryder, absolutely. Like Ryder, like again, like so that would be like one-on-one relative to like conscious media creation. So at the $11 level, like that's just for the conscious media creation one-on-one. If it's something where it's like, yo, Brendan, I want to be able to talk about the rest of my life and to like tell you like about all the things that I need assistance with, like that's at the higher level coaching. Whereas the conscious media creation coaching is available at the $11 level for the leading members. So thank you again, everyone, for joining in. If you haven't already yet, go ahead and check out my Patreon. Connect to my personal profile on Facebook if you wish. You're welcome to send me a direct message there, even if you have any questions, and I can answer those later. And yeah, and if you would like to be able to connect with our team chat, you can connect to our team chat. It's going to jump in our team chat right now. Yes. But yeah, Ryder, let me know either way. Like we can chat more either way. So that's cool. And thank you again. All right, team. Like I said, if you want to sign up for the Patreon at any point, please feel free to do that. Contributions process on the 1st of each month, so even if you sign up sooner, it won't process till later. It only takes about 3 minutes to sign up. You can sign up with PayPal, with a prepaid credit card. You can sign up with a regular credit card. And again, your support there, yeah, it's supporting me, but it's supporting the entire team. It's supporting us being able to help provide high-value content to a variety of creators. You can get your beautiful Lemurian Light Guardian Crystals. And again, if you want to be able to take advantage of my limited offer for like my high-value coaching, then please feel free to do that. And here's one of the beautiful Lemurian Light Guardian Crystals. But yes, with that said, we're going to just take one more minute here and we'll wrap things up. And then I'll be back here a little bit later tonight. I am going to go walk my dog and then I'm going to go work out. And then I'm going to take a cold shower, a regular shower, and a cold. And then we are going to be back here tonight. Because again, like that's my job right now is to boost the Patreon. Because that's going to allow me to just be able to like do lots more awesome stuff for the community. And yeah, getting ready for that next big stage of the journey. So thank you again, supporters in all forms, for not just holding space for the community, but for like seeing the value that we're creating together. And yeah, for just being a part of the team that we're building as well. Global team of shifters and creators. So if you want to check out my Patreon, you'll find links through there to the paradigmshiftcentral.com website. And again, to my other social media channels. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to message me directly. And even if you just want to be able to express your gratitude right now, please feel free to do that right now. And we'll wrap up the broadcast literally in the next minute. And again, people can sign up for the Patreon at any point. We'll be back here later tonight, so make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, thank you again, everyone, for being here. And my gratitude goes out to you, to all the awesome people out here who are kicking ass together. Thank you. We are currently at about 164. I say about because I know there's a couple people there that like they have to make some adjustments on their Patreon. So like technically I think it's 163, give or take. Yo, Wizbold, thanks for joining in, dude. Another one of our amazing creators within the community. Yeah, Wizbold, we're literally just wrapping up. Unless someone wants to sign up for the Patreon real quick. Then I'll take my dog out as soon as I can. But otherwise, again, you can always sign up later. So to the 300 people tuned in on Facebook right now, thank you so much for joining in. I'm just kidding. There's 30 people tuned in, which is still awesome. For the couple people tuned in on Instagram, thank you as well. For those of you who are on any social media network, thank you. And again, make sure that you're subscribed and come back and join us again later. So yeah, there's some good readings though today. That was a good one. It was good practice. This is like the first time I've done like a tarot reading broadcast in a little bit. Last couple weeks there's like a lot of inner work that I was doing, so that was like my focus there. And now we're back, and yeah, just bringing again like all the inner work that I did has just like helped me level up, and now I can talk like even with more with more like wisdom, you know. So that's the beauty of it. Mary, I'm gonna send you the link for the Patreon in the chat. It is in the pinned comment. Sorry, I didn't see your comment there a second ago. So Mary, you can click the link there, but yeah, you can literally see it on the screen. So even if you open up in a new browser window, if you're on desktop, you can click it there. And again, for the Patreon, like I want to let people know like that yes, there's the invitation for you to work with me at the higher end coaching. So like literally, if people want to be able to like have access to me on Voxer, which is like my private voice coaching app, where you can basically just like send me messages and we can chat throughout the day and check in and have accountability, that's incredibly valuable. Like I don't think a lot of people really understand the value of having a coach in your corner who is here to support you in like really living your best life and stepping into your potential. And I'll do my best. Like again, there's limits on what I'm capable of, and I'll let you know what those limits are. But again, just working together is a great way to just be able to, sometimes people are just like, yo, like just having someone who understands me and being able to talk to them like opens my heart and just makes like gives so much value to my everyday experience. Mary, if you're interested in signing up for the Patreon, go ahead. And again, Mary, when you sign up for the Patreon, if you can do that in the next couple minutes, Mary, that's cool. Otherwise, no rush, and we can sign up. We can do a private reading later. But again, when you sign up onto the Patreon, Mary, I'll just show you here. You can also get a beautiful Lemurian Light Guardian Crystal, which again, these are handmade items that I make within the community. I'm the only one who makes these because I'm the only one who has the blueprint for them currently. Eventually, I'm going to teach my Patreon supporters how to make these. Eventually, once we pass like 200 supporters on Patreon, I might be passing out the blueprint. So I also want to do like lightsaber giveaways for my Patreon supporters. That's something I want to do. So you can here's another beautiful Lemurian Light Guardian Crystal there. So again, when you sign up onto the Patreon at the $11 level, that's at the super affordable level where you can again get access to me as a conscious media creation coach, which is worth like over $250 a month. Like I just want you to understand what I offer in terms of like my coaching is super fucking valuable, but I make it super fucking affordable because I want to be able to help support my fellow creator friends. That's why we do it. And then when other people sign up at higher levels, it allows me to be able to spend time investing my time towards other creators who may just be getting started, who may have been where I was 7 years ago, so to speak, right? And then I'm helping them like build their Patreon and build their regenerative income as well. You can see here, this one looks like Rey's lightsaber in the new Star Wars. Spoilers. So it's like the solar saber. But yeah, these are super beautiful, and again, they come in all the colors of the chakra. If you sign up at like a super high level on Patreon, I'll give you a full set. I will give you a chakra set. If you sign up at like the $96 level, this is just a special offer just for this broadcast right now. But if someone's like, yo, like Brendan, I love what you're doing, I want to support you, and I want you to be able to like fucking keep rocking it, go ahead and sign up at a high level and let me know you tuned into this broadcast, and I'll give you that special offer. Because again, these crystals are worth a lot, but they're worth more to me when you're signing up to the Patreon and I'm exchanging them for your contributions that just help us create more content. So Mary, thank you so much. Mary says they're going to check out the Patreon a little bit later, which is totally cool. And again, you can sign up at any time and do a private reading. And again, maybe if you're looking to get more of the conscious, even as like a private coach, like that can be something where we can do like readings privately as well, like once a month, or even again, like more than once a month, depending on what level you sign up for. Here's one of the beautiful crystals, again, changing color. This is, again, I dance with this one. I'll be dancing with this one Friday. This one's like one of my personal ones. I love it. It's like a good size in the palm. And it's a good like fidget spinner. If you got like any kids that are kind of like into like maybe just need help focusing, these are super valuable as well. For those of you on Instagram, the feed is about to end, but we're going to wrap up this broadcast anyways. For those of you who have been here, thank you so much. Check out the Patreon when you can, and send me a message if you have any questions, and we'll be back here later tonight for another broadcast as we continue working towards our goal on the Patreon. So wrapping it up on Instagram, thank you so much. Much love. I'll see you in the future. Click my bio link. All right. And again, if anybody has any quick questions, let me know real quick. Other than that, just express some gratitude, and we'll get things all wrapped up here. All right. Ryder's asking, what inspired you to make them, Brendan? Because they're so cool. It originally began as like it originally began as I'll just answer this real quick and then I'm gonna hop off. For those of you just joining in on the YouTube feed, again, I don't really answer like questions from the chat related to like advice and things like that. So yeah, so I can't really answer those questions, but I appreciate you just checking in anyways. But yeah, Ryder, just to answer your question, these originally began, this is polymer clay that I use. This concept originally began as a massage wand, and I still have a bunch of the massage wands, and I'll show you. So this is like what the Light Guardian Crystal began as, and these still exist. So this is a massage wand, and I can still sell these, and these are like super valuable for like Reiki massage and deep tissue massage, and they're freaking awesome. And if you like massage, oh, like seriously, it feels so good. If you massage like on your body with these, it's super just like oh man, oh, it feels so good. Anyways, these were one of the first things I made, and then eventually I was like, oh wait, if I put a quartz on there, that's cool. Oh wait, maybe if I put like can I put a light in it? How do I put a light in it? And then eventually that evolved into this. So it was an evolution, right? So all right, okay. Thank you again, everyone, for joining in. Again, for those of you who are tuned in on YouTube, I encourage you to check out my Patreon. But again, don't just sign up for my Patreon just for a reading. Like, please don't do that. Only sign up for my Patreon if you want to actually support the work that I'm doing. That has happened in the past where people would sign up for the Patreon and then just be like, yeah, I just wanted the reading. And then they would ditch. And I'm just like, like, I can't, like, what do I do, right? Like, so only sign up for the Patreon if you're like here because you want to support my work. Other than that, like, you know, just understand that there's a lot of other readers out there who would probably be a better fit for you. So again, yes, the reading that we do is awesome, but again, you're supporting because you're supporting what I do, not just because you're here for a reading. All right, team, we're going to wrap up this broadcast. Thank you again, everyone, so much for hanging out with us. We're going to be back here a little bit later tonight. I'm going to go, again, just take care of some things, go do my workout, walk my dog. And yeah, we'll be back here a little bit, maybe around like 7, 8. I don't know. I haven't fully decided yet, but either way, make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, we'll be back here a little bit later. So awesome. Yeah, Ryder, let me know if you want one of the crystal massage wands. Let me know. Like, that is an option. I don't really sell them through the store anymore, but they're still available. I still got a bunch that I'm just like sitting on right now. So, all right. Awesome. Thank you again for those of you tuned in, all of you in Facebook and YouTube and Twitch and Instagram. My name is Brendan. You've been watching live tarot readings with Wolf. My name's Wolf. Also, follow me on Instagram, Mystic Spider-Man, Skull Babylon on YouTube, ParadigmShiftCentral.com, Patreon.com/Brendan Culleton. Links are in the info for this video. If you have any questions, just message me on social media. Sign up for the Patreon when you can. Awesome value there. And yeah, thank you so much for joining in, for adding your support, and for being the cosmic badass that you are. Until next time, keep it shifty, and I will see you in the future. All right, much love, team.